So, welcome back. In this session, we are going to discuss the remaining part of JavaScript. We have seen we can create functions in JavaScript. Functions that are defined and written by or coded by the users as per their requirement are called user-defined functions. We all know that there are two types of functions in JavaScript, namely user-defined functions and built-in functions. Here we are going to see some of the built-in functions that are commonly used in JavaScript. So what are built-in functions? Functions that are already defined in the JavaScript are called built-in functions. So these functions are already available in JavaScript. User or programmer can just invoke or use those functions with their names. We shall see some of the built-in functions. One important function is alert function. Sometimes we have to give some messages. Sometimes there are messages, sometimes successfully saved messages, or some welcome messages to the user in a dialog box or in a window. So for that purpose we can use this function alert. So what is the use of alert function? This function is used to display a message on the screen. For example, the statement welcome to JavaScript. If you want to print welcome to JavaScript on a message box, it can be done with the statement alert welcome to JavaScript. This part, alert within bracket welcome to JavaScript. If this statement is executed in JavaScript by JavaScript engine, it will give you a message like this. In a window or in a dialog box or in a message box, you will get welcome to JavaScript, a message like this. And if you press OK, that message box will disappear. Another function is isNaN. isNaN function. It stands for is not a number. Is not a number. This function checks whether the parameter given is a number or not. If it is a number or a string that contains number, it will return false. If it is not a number, it will return true. This function is used, that is isNaN, this function isNaN. This function is used to check whether a value is a number or not. In this function, NaN stands for not a number, not a number. So it is a request or a call to check whether it is number or not. The function returns true if the value is not a number. It is to be noted, if it is not a number, it will return true. If it is a number, it will return false. Some of the examples. If you are writing a statement like this in our JavaScript code, isNaN welcome, it will return true. Is NaN A123, it is not a number, so it will return true. Is NaN score 50? Again, this is a string, not a number, so it will return true. Is NaN A? It will return true. Now, in this case, or in all these four cases, it will return false. Why? Because here is a string, even though it is a string, it is a string of digits. So it is taken as a number, it will return false. Is NaN 13? False. Is NaN 13.5? False. Is NaN 0.123? False. So it checks, is NaN function checks whether the argument given is a number or not. Next function is to uppercase. As the name implies, it is to convert some strings to uppercase, corresponding uppercase string. So this function returns uppercase form of the given string. Example, variable x and y are defined, x is initialized with JavaScript. It's a mix of uppercase and lowercase letters. And we are going to convert y equal to x dot to uppercase. See, x dot, this x, the content of this x is to be converted to uppercase, x to uppercase. So what happens? The content will be converted into uppercase string and it will be stored in y. And we are calling alert to y. What happens? It will give you a message, JavaScript in capital letters in alert box or message box. So the output of the above code segment will be word JavaScript in an alert box. It is called along with the name of the string variable x. This is very important. This function is called, this x is not given as an argument here. Instead, it is an object and this is a method, and object method format is used here. So variable dot to uppercase is used. That is, x to uppercase returns the uppercase form of the string in the variable x. Now to lowercase, it is clear from the name, this is to convert a string to lowercase format. It returns the lowercase form of the given string. Example, again xy JavaScript, x dot to lowercase. What happens? The string in x will be converted into lowercase, corresponding lowercase string, and will be stored in y. So if you give a statement like this, alert y, what happens? The JavaScript will be entirely converted into lowercase. So the output of the above code segment will be JavaScript displayed on an alert box. If all the characters in the string are already lowercase, to lowercase returns the same string. Nothing will be performed on that string. Now another built-in function is char at, which stands for character at. Char at function. It is to return a particular character in a string in a particular position. A character at a particular position will be returned by this character at function. So we have to specify the string as well as the character position. So it returns the character at a particular position. Char at 0 returns the first character, char at 1 returns the second character, and so on. So the first character is identified by 0. 0th character means the first character. Let's see an example where x equal to JavaScript, y equal to x dot character at 4. X is the variable which contains JavaScript. And we are taking out the 4th character, which means j is the 0th character, a is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. So y contain yes. So the output will be alert y. What will be the output? The output will be character yes in an alert box. Now length property, this is not a function but a property. In the case of object-oriented programming, there are methods and properties. This length is a property. So length property returns the length of the string. Length means the number of characters in the string. Suppose Java is the string, its length is 4. Why? Because it contains 4 characters, J, A, B, A. If the string is level, L-E-V-E-L, level, it contains 5 characters, so the length of that string is 5. So here we have two variables x and n. X contains JavaScript, n equal to x dot length. X dot length. When the functions are used, there will be parenthesis after the function name. When properties are used, there will not be any parenthesis. So x dot length. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So here we have 10 characters in the word JavaScript. So n contains 10. Alert n will display 10 on a message box. The property is called along with the variable x.length. The output of the code will be 10 as there are 10 characters in the word JavaScript. Now we have some questions. Write the value of the variable in y, variable y in the following. Some of the examples. X equal to welcome, y equal to x dot length. This is to find the length of variable x. What is the content of x? Welcome. How many characters are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 characters. So the answer is content of y will be 7. X equal to welcome, y equal to x to lowercase, x dot to lowercase. X contain capital welcome and it is to be converted into lowercase. So y will contain small letter welcome. Now x equal to welcome in mixed case or camel case, y is equal to x to uppercase. What happens? This will be converted entirely into capital letters, uppercase letters. X equal to welcome, y equal to x to lowercase. So this is already in lowercase, so nothing will be done on this string. So it will be again welcome. X equal to welcome is nan x. So the content of y will be true because x is not a string. Sorry, not a number. X equal to welcome, y equal to character at 3. What will be the character at 3? This is the character at 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. So the content will be C. Now the very important part in JavaScript. Accessing values in text box using JavaScript. As we have discussed, JavaScript is the client-side scripting language which is used for, most of the time used for evaluation or validation of values entered by the user, which is supposed to send to the server. So before sending this data, a primary check is done on this data. That is called validation or evaluation of data. So for this purpose we are using JavaScript. So in order to accept data from the user, we use forms. What are forms? That we have learned in the previous chapter. A form is a section in body which contains controls, input controls like text box, password box, buttons, combo box, list box, check box, radio button, all these which are used for collecting responses from the user in various forms. So this is a form. Here we can see, a form. This contains a text box. Here we can type some value. This password is for inputting password values. Here is a button. Here is send button. So this is called a form. A form contains input controls like text box, combo box, list box, checkbox, button, etc. to receive input from a website viewer. Some person visits a website, some users visit the website. He want to, for example, you want to know your result of your examination. When the result is published, you will have to type your register number and some date of birth like that, and you will press the button submit. It will give you the result. So the values, your register number and date of birth are input values given. Those values are accepted through some boxes. Those boxes are called input controls, right? That area which contain the text box and some checkbox, etc., are called form in a HTML page, which is the part in the body section of an HTML. Now let us see how to create a form. Nothing. We make use of the form tag. A form is identified by its name, form. Here we are using the name first form. This is the identifier for the form, and some formatting tags, ender number, input type, text, name, input. This is used for creating input control. Type equal to text, which we are going to create a text box. That text box is identified by this name txt num. Then br, some spaces, some lines, separation. Then cube of number, another text. Input type equal to text, again another text box, its name is txt cube. Input type button means it is going to create a button, and value, which means you have to write something on that button. It should be show, and center and form, body HTML. So this is an HTML code to create a form like this. Enter a number, then a box, cube of number, then a box, then a button show. See here, HTML body section. Inside the body section we have opened a form tag, and the form tag is closed here, and in between that center alignment is needed, so that we have put here in center alignment. This tag is used. Enter a number. This is written and it is displayed as it is. Enter a number. Now for creating this part, text box, we are using this input type. This is the tag, input tag, and its attribute type, and its value is given as text, which means it is to be a box is to be created, which is for accepting some text value, and name equal to txt num. This box is identified by the name txt num. Then br, two line separation, again cube of number. That means we want to print this cube of number as it is. Then again input type equal to text, name equal to txt cube. Again another text box is created. Its name is txt cube. So this is, the first one is txt num and the second one is txt cube. And one more input control is there, is button. Input type equal to button. When you give button for this type attribute, it will create a command button, and value equal to show. On that, show will be displayed. So we shall see the form code. So this is that, and so this is that code. It is saved as a .html file, and when you click on that, that page will be displayed through the browser. Okay, now Now let us write code to find cube of a number. So this is a JavaScript code to find a cube of a number. So in this text box, user will type a value, say 10. And if you press the show button, it will give the output here, that is 10 into 10 into 10, that is 1000. If the user types 2 here, it should give 8, that is 2 into 2 into 2, 8. If the user types 3 here, it should give 3 into 3 into 3, 27. So we have to write JavaScript code for calculating that. When the user presses the show button, it must perform some operations. These operations can be performed with the help of JavaScript code. Now our aim is to collect the data the user entered here to our JavaScript code. So let us see here. HTML code is here. Head, body, form name, first form. Name of the form is first form. That is this text num and text cube, as well as this button which is placed in an area or in a form which is identified by the name first form. So this txt num and txt cube as well as this button are inside this first form area. We have already seen that. So we have written this code. Now here you can see input, some modification in this code for the button. Input type equal to button, value equal to show. After that we are writing on click equal to find cube. See here, this is a function call. A function that is to be executed while the user clicks on the button named or button labeled show. So this is the function find cube. So when JavaScript is executed, when this code is displayed through the browser, and when the user clicks on that button, on clicking that, when that event happens, this function will be called. Now we have to write this function find cube, and this function is to be embedded in the HTML code. So here we have written a JavaScript code here, script in the head section of this HTML page. In the head section of this HTML page, usually functions are placed in head section because the execution speed improves, also the readability of the code improves. So here in the head section we have written script code. Script language equal to JavaScript, that we have already seen. Function find cube. This is a user defined function. Function find cube. Name of the function is find cube. When this function is executed, these things happens. var num ans. We have two variables, num and ans. Num equal to. See, this is very important statement here. We are collecting the data from the text box. User input value from the text box. When the user clicks on that button, what happens? This function will be called. Then num equal to, the code here is num equal to document.firstform.txt num.value. What does it mean? We know document means the body section. Document stands for the body section. Document dot. There is a section inside this body, that is inside this document, named first form, that we have already seen here. The form is named first form. So inside the body section there is a section called first form, and inside that form there is a control called txt num, and inside that text box there is some value. So that value is to be collected. Document dot first form dot txt num dot value. The value inside the text box named txt num, which is the part of the first form and which is inside this document, that is to be collected and stored in num. So this is the way to access values inside form controls. So that is stored in num. Now n is equal to num into num into num. We are multiplying this. If we are inputting, if the user inputs 2, what happens? 2 into 2 into 2. If it is 4, 4 into 4 into 4. That result will be stored in ANS. Now this is the variable, this is the memory location. The result is inside ANS. That value is to be displayed in this text box. What is the name of this text box? Cube txt cube is the name of this text box. So we are placing the content of that ANS variable to the text box. So here document dot first form dot txt cube dot value, the just reverse of the previous statement. Document dot, there is a part, there is in the body section there is a part called first form. Inside that there is a text box called txt cube and its value is to be set as ANS. So the result will be, if we are inputting 2 into 2 into 2, that is 8 will be there in ANS. That 8 will be displayed or put into the second text box. So in this way we can call functions and we can access the values inside input controls. Now the important things about this is, name of the form is first form, name of text box is txt num, name result text box is txt cube, input value in the txt num is stored in variable num. So the value input by the user in the txt num is stored in num, and cube of input, the number in the cube of the value entered by the user will be stored in ANS. Now the JavaScript code to access content of txt num, and store it in num is num equal to document dot first form dot txt num dot value. Is an important thing. Most of the time it will be asked for examinations. JavaScript code to put content of ANS to txt cube is document dot first form dot txt cube dot value equal to ANS. Now we have seen this on click, right? On click, while the user clicks on that button, that particular function will be invoked. So this on click is called event. That clicking is performed with the help of mouse, so it is called a mouse event. What is an event? Nothing but some operation performed by the user with the help of keyboards and mouse or any other input device, and depending upon based on that response or the operation performed by the user, some other activities are performed by the program code. So there are mouse events and keyboard events. We have to learn that. Events are some actions performed using mouse and keyboard, like click, double click, key press, etc. We can call some functions on occurrence of some of these events. When the user performs this, when the user triggers this event, we can connect this with some function call. So here, look at this input type equal to button, value show on click find cube. So when the user clicks on this button, this function will be called. Here on click is an event of mouse. Other events are, there are a lot of events. You have some events in your textbooks given. On click occurs when the user clicks on an object. On mouse enter, when the mouse pointer enters that particular area or button. On mouse enter occurs when the mouse pointer is moved onto an object. On mouse leave occurs when the mouse pointer is moved out of an object. On key down occurs when the user is pressing a key on the keyboard. On key up occurs when the user releases a key on the keyboard. Now here we can see the example. So this is the code to find cube that we have seen, and let us see how it works. So we have written the code and we are typing here 10 and pressing show. So 1000 is displayed. If it is 4, we'll get 64. If it is 2, we'll get 8. If it is some 15, we'll get 3375. If it is 100, we'll get a greater value. So this code is, this part is working. So this is the way we integrate the HTML head script part. Then head is closed, the body part. So in this way, we can integrate JavaScript code and HTML code in an HTML page. Now another example, code to find sum of two numbers. We are going to write another HTML JavaScript code. See here, HTML starts here, then script here, right? This is the function. We have written here function. Then we have the body section, and in a form we have a lot of things here, right? See, form, name of the form is FRM sum. We have enter a number, and that the first number will be entered in txt num1. Enter number 2, that will be entered in txt num2. Then the result is to be shown in txt sum, and there is a button named show. On click, show sum function will be called, right? Same replica of the previous example. We have num1, see three variables, num1, num2 and ns. Num1 equal to document dot frm sum dot txt num1 dot value. Num2 equal to document dot frm sum txt num2 dot value. Ns equal to num1 plus num2. Document dot frm sum dot txt sum dot value equal to ns. Let us see the example here, sum of two numbers. So this is the output of that code. Let us see the here. This is our JavaScript code. This is our HTML code. frm sum, txt num1, txt num2, and txt sum and show sum. When this function is called, show sum function is called, the value inside txt num1 will be stored in num1, and that in txt num2 will be stored in num2, and ans equal to num1 plus num2. Then the content of this ans will be displayed in document dot frm sum dot txt sum dot values ans. Now let us see how it works. So here we are going to enter some values, say 100, and here 200. So the expected value is 300, but the answer is something different. Why it is so? See, the code is saying we have written the perfect code here. The number is stored in 100 is stored in number 1, and the 200 is stored in number 2, and number 1 plus number 2 is calculated. The answer is stored in ANS, and that result is to be displayed through the third text box. Why we are getting this answer 100 to 100? Just recapitulate, just recollect. Why? Because plus has two meaning. In JavaScript, plus is used for two purposes that we have seen earlier. That is, if the two operands or one of the operand of plus is a string, then it will perform concatenation operation. So here it performed concatenation operation. So what we have to do is we have to convert these numbers to these values 200 and 100 to number, and we have learned a function called a number in order to convert a string of numbers to number. So we need to modify that code. See, we have to write here number, number. Number. So what is collected from that text box is to be converted into a number. Number. So the data entered by the user in the first text box is collected, and that is converted into a number and then stored in number 1. Again, the data entered in the text box 2, txt num2, is collected and converted into a number and stored in number 2. Now we are saving this. Again, we are going to this code and refreshing. See the difference. 10, 30. We expect 40. Answer is correct. Why? Because we have converted this to 40. So in this way we can write code. So this is that we have seen here. The code can be modified as follows. Function shown num1 number of document dot form sum dot this. So this value, this value taken by this part 2 is entirely converted into number and stored in number 1. Then we will get the correct answer. Now another code, another example. Sum up to a limit. This is the code for finding out the sum of n numbers. Say n, if you are giving n as 10, it will find out, the code will find out sum of numbers 1 plus 2 plus 3 up to 10. The answer will be 55. And if you are giving 3 as the limit, it will perform 1 plus 2 plus 3, then answer will be 6. So here we have sum up to here we will enter a number and the answer will be displayed this. If you are giving 10, here we will get 55. That is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 etc. up to 10, and then answer will be 55. That will be given here when the user presses this show button. Here in the code we have written a function sum limit. Name of the function is sum limit. Variable sum is equal to 0. I limit. We are here using all the variables, control statements, functions, and all for this program. See, sum is equal to 0. I limit. we have three variables. Limit number document dot frm sum dot txt limit dot value. Whatever the user input in the first text box, that will be stored in limit as a number. So when the user types 10, that number is collected and it is converted into a numerical value and is stored in limit. Then for I is equal to 1, I less than or equal to limit is a loop, I plus plus sum is equal to sum plus I. The value is added and it is stored in sum continuously. 1, 1 plus 2, 1 plus 2 plus 3, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 and so on. Then document dot frm sum dot txt sum dot value. Then second text box. In the second text box, the sum will be displayed. And that ends the script part. Here we have the body part, and name of the form is frm sum. Enter the limit. It will be accepted to txt limit. Sum of numbers will be displayed in txt sum. Into type button, value show, the on click sum limit will be called. So here this is our code. This is our code. So here I am giving 3. Your anticipated result is 1 plus 2 plus 3, that is 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 3, 6. And if you type 10 here, it will be 55. If you type 100 here, it will be 5050. If we type 5 here, it will be 50. So that is working. Now some validation codes. So for validation, as we know, suppose you are checking your result. We have seen this example earlier, and we have to check whether that is a valid register number or not, whether it contains some alphabets or if it contains 7 digits or not. So that is called validation. So here we are checking, so or discussing some examples which performs validation. If document dot frm sum dot txt limit dot value equal to double quotes, then again double quotes without any gap, which means if there is nothing in that text box, alert please enter the limit and return. If is nan document dot frm sum txt limit dot value is not a number, alert please enter a number of the limit, return. Let us see an example. See, in this example, this validation example, suppose we are typing some text here, you will get 0. We are giving nothing, so no response. So in order to display some messages, if the user does not type any value and press the show button, he must get alerted with a message, enter a number. And if he types something other than number, again you must type a number. Such messages is to be displayed. So that is called actually validation and requesting for the actual correct data, correct input data. So let us see another code. We have notepad here. So this is the code. Here we have entered some code here. See this. When this function is called and the user presses button without giving a value, if the document.frm sum.txt limit dot value equal to empty, nothing, then alert enter a limit. Again, if he has entered something but it is not a number, then he will say our code will say enter a number. So we are going to see this. Show, see enter a limit. So the user types some a like this, enter a number. Okay. So he types 10 and the answer will be displayed. So this is called actually the validation. Now using selection box or combo box. Selection box or combo box means a box which is when clicked on an arrow it will open down, drop down box. The box will be a list of items will be displayed. So user can select some values from that. So here we have combo box. See, when the user selects Karnataka, the answer Bengaluru will be displayed here. Maharashtra, Mumbai, Kerala, Thiruvananthapuram, like that. So how this code works? That is how this combo box or select box works. Let us see the form part here. Form FRM capital, a code or a JavaScript code to display the capital cities of some states when the states are selected from a select box or combo box or drop down list box. Here state, then in HTML we can create a combo box or select box using the tag select. Its size is 1, which displays only one item at a time. Name of that box is CB or state. This word is used to identify that box, selection box. Then the items in the box are option 1 Kerala, option Karnataka, option Tamil Nadu, option. So there are 4 items in the select box. When the user clicks on that, he can see 4 items. You can select one of the items from that. Then beneath that there is a text box which displays the capital city. Its name is TXT capital. Then there is another button called input type equal to button value show on click. Call this function capital, right? This capital function will be called on the user clicks on that show button. See this function capital, variable n, answer, n equal to document.frm capital.cbo_state.selected index. This is an important thing, this is an important property, selected index. When the user clicks on a select box and selects an item, a number will be returned. That number is called the index. That number can be collected using the property selected index. So from the list, if the user selects the first item, then the selected index will be 0. Second item from the list, it will be 1, and so on. So here, when the user selects an item, an index will be passed to this n. So what is the use of selected index? This property returns the index of the selected item in a selection box. Then this is switch, as we know, depending upon the value of n. If the value is 0, it will display Thiruvananthapuram, answer will be Thiruvananthapuram. Then if it is 1, it is Bangalore, to Chennai, and so on. Then that answer will be displayed in the text box document .frm capital .txt capital .value equal to. So that is the example here. When the user clicks Kerala, it will be displayed. On change event of select box. On change, select size equal to 1, name CBO state on change equal to capital. See here, sorry, I will display that in see, I am removing this part on change capital in this code and saving this, and again taking this code, refreshing. When I press Karnataka, when I select Tamil Nadu, I am not getting Chennai as capital here. Then I am getting the capital only when the show button is pressed. Why? Because here this code is written for on click capital, and this can be modified. Select, along with this select, we can write, see, this code can be included. See, on change, this is an event of select box. When item is changed by selection, automatically this function will be called. So we can modify this code on change equal to capital. On change equal to capital, and I am saving this, right? And this code is refreshed. Now when I change Kerala, automatically Thiruvananthapuram comes, Maharashtra becomes. So these are some of the examples. Now another example for field validation. Check data, name, age. If see, I will see the code. I will show you the code here. Data type validation. See, we have FRM valid here. Name of the form is FRM valid, txt name and txt age, and a button called save. On clicking that, check data will be called. What is written in check data? We have three variables: t name, t age, and n age. T name equal to document.frm valid.txt name dot value. If t name equal to null, alert, please enter name. Name is to be entered. If t name dot length less than 5, if there is if the number of characters in the name is less than 5, then it will ask for your name must contain at least 5 characters. Then th document dot form valid age value. If the age value is null, enter an age. If is an th, enter the age. If th equal to less than 15 and n age greater than 20, n age less than 15 and n age greater than 20. This is n age for converting that number into that age into a number. If that is less than 15 and greater than 20, we have to ask for to enter an age between 15 and 20, and that is saved. So let us see the example how it works. Name. So initially, please enter a name. So I am typing here Raju and save. The name must contain at least 5 characters. Okay, I am converting that into Raj Kumar. Save. Please enter the age. So I am going to type a value here. Save. Enter a number as age. Okay, so 10. Save. The age must be between 10 and 20. Okay, so 17. Data saved. So this is validation, right? Only if all the conditions are satisfied, then it can be that data can be saved. So in this type of operations can be performed in JavaScript. You go through the code. Now the last part is ways to add a script to a web page. What are the different ways to include script code in HTML page? We have seen we can include HTML JavaScript code in the body section as well as in the head section. And third way is it can be added, it can be included as an external file. So the 3 ways, what are the different ways? There are 3 ways. The 3 ways used to place or include script code in HTML page are: first one is inside body section, or inside head section, or as an external file as .js file. These are the 3 ways. What are the different ways? Either inside the body section, or inside head section, or as an external file. The code will not be there in the HTML file, it will be saved as an external file, and that file will be having an extension .js. For C++ file we have extension .cpp, for C files we have extension .c, for HTML file we have extension .html, and so on. So here for JavaScript files, we will those JavaScript files will be saved with an extension .js. Example: function check data. This is a function variable. Some codes are written here. Please enter a register number and so on if it is not number. Okay, right? And we are saving this file as an external file. See here, when those files are external, see this file, this program, this code, we are saving it as a file named checkdata.js. Now that file we are going to include in our code. The way is we are using the script tag here. Type equal to, within quotes, the type, there comes an attribute called type. In this against that type attribute, text JavaScript, that is expected text file, and it is in JavaScript. And the source is src. The source file is checkdata.js script head. Then we have the HTML code form valid and so and so. No problem. We will call this check data file. That check data will be called. Where is it? Check data will be here in JS file. Now we can see that this is the check data JavaScript file. So we can see the example how it works. See this code, validation text, open with notepad. So here check data is inserted or included as an external file. We have that file already written, and let's see how it works. Validation text. get result, enter a register number 1 2 3 4. Register number must have 7 digits, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So data sent to server. So in this way we can include HTML JavaScript file as an external file also. So there are 3 ways to include JavaScript files. You can write in body section, head section, or include as a JavaScript file. Now there are some questions. When will on mouse enter event of JavaScript work? Answer is when the mouse pointer enters the control. Click is not required. When the mouse pointer just enters that control, that event will happen. The property of drop down list, that is select element, used to get index of the selected item is, that we have seen, selected index. This is the property that returns the index of the selected item. Compare on key down and on key up event of JavaScript. The comparison is on key down occurs when the user is pressing a key on the keyboard. On key up occurs when the user releases a key on the keyboard. What is the use of number function? The use is to convert a string of digit to corresponding number, that we have seen in an example here. Now, what is the advantage of placing JavaScript code just above the body tag? The advantages can reduce the crowded text in body area. Body area always contain lot of HTML tags, and in between that including lot of JavaScript code will make it crowded, and it will be difficult for the developer to identify if error is any. So the crowdedness can be reduced if we move this JavaScript code to the head area. And the second one is speeds up execution as head section is loaded before the body section. Since the head section is loaded before loading the body section, execution of functions will be more faster when we put the JavaScript codes in head section. So these are all about JavaScript up to your standards. Thank you.